Hi, I'm Jessica Despains, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these shelves behind me. Let's take a look. Earlier I pre-assembled the Billy IKEA shelves. I'm working on the two thicker ones at this time. When you assemble them, if you were doing the shiplap in the back and kind of wrapping it around like we're doing in the video, you won't put in this middle shelf or the backer. It comes with a middle shelf right here that kind of stabilizes it, and then the backer is just a plain white backer to keep it clean. But we're putting shiplap on the wall, and so without having that backer there, the shiplap's gonna go through. So I went and got these 2x2 pieces of wood from Home Depot. They're super cheap. It's like $2 and something for each. I think they come in like 8-foot sections. I'm just framing out the outside of these because that is just going to give this thickness, because when I wrap the shiplap around it, I want it to have like a chunky look to it. This board in the middle, as you can see, is kind of cut down the middle. They're cheap wood, so they'll come bowed sometimes. And this way, by cutting it in the middle, it took that bump out of it. So now it's laying flat against my board. So when I put my shiplap, you don't have some weird like pieces that are coming up and then going back down. We are going to be gluing these, setting them down, and then just nailing them to keep them attached. And same thing on the other side. So we're gonna make sure that it is flush on the top and along the sides. That way, again, the shiplap is gonna come over both surfaces. You don't want it to lift in one area.
Okay, what are you building?
I'm building a dog. Bowl.
Okay.
What are you doing to me?
So last night, I'm not gonna say that. I have gotten both of these tall shelves framed on the outside, and so our next step, we're going to be fastening our 2x4s to these walls. They're going to be the anchors because after removing these middle shelves, these are actually pretty flimsy. So we're gonna be anchoring them to the wall, so it's gonna keep them up straight at an even, that's not right, what is the word? At a, like a level, what is it called? Like so they're not slanted.
Straight.
Okay. We're gonna be posting some 2x4s against this wall, and they're actually going to be what we are anchoring it on. And it's going to give us a little bit of thickness more off of the wall because we're gonna be staggering these two shelves with the ones in the middle. So it'll give it kind of more thickness to that. With these shelves, I'm gonna use two different 2x2s stacked on top of each other to give us more thickness to push it out from the wall more. But the first one, if you see down here, we've got trim. And so I'm just going to measure from the top of the ceiling to the top of the trim, and that'll be my first cut. And then the second one, I'm just gonna do from ceiling to floor. Now that all of our boards are cut for the height to the top of this trim, now we're trying to decide how far over we wanna go, and we are trying to measure out kind of where the insert for the TV is gonna be compared to where the couch is. What we've come to decide is over here in this corner, we're gonna leave a little bit of a gap. It's not gonna go flush up against our wall, and this is something that you can decide how you want it set up in your house. But we are gonna leave a little bit of a gap and then kind of go from there. That leaves our TV just kind of centered with our couch right here. And then we'll have the second shelf to end it. Now that we've decided where we're gonna put our 2x4 to kind of start our shelves, I'm gonna take my level and put it up on the wall and make sure it's leveled on both sides. I'm gonna draw a line, and that's where I'm gonna bump this up to. And that way I know this is going up level because this is what's going to level our shelves so they're not kind of crooked and sitting funky looking. I'm going to be using I will be using liquid nails. Let's call it screws. I'm going to be using liquid nails on the back of my 2x4s as well as using screws to anchor them in. The liquid nails just gives it a lot more strength. And so it's not just going to be relying on the screws, it's going to be a lot more secure, I don't know. Kind of do a wave down your board, that way it kind of spreads across the entire board instead of just down the middle, and it makes it a little bit stronger that way. Now you're gonna find out how far apart your 2x4s need to be to match up with your boards. If you see over here, we're going from the outsides of these, so you're not gonna measure just the shelves itself. You're gonna measure the shelves with these thicknesses. You want the 2x4 to be lined up with this because when you wrap with a shiplap, it gives it that even surface to go around. You have something on this lens.
You can say whatever you want.
I'm just gonna start, we put the things together.
Hey.
You're not gonna use any of this. I'm just tired, I'm very disappointed that this is all I did tonight. We just put our second 2x4 up on both sides, so now there are two 2x4s on top of each other, and again, that's to give us the thickness to make those parts of the shelf come out further than what's gonna be in the middle. After that, we brought over one of our tall Billy bookshelves and we lined it up perfectly with how our boards were, made sure it was still straight, and then we took L brackets and put them up top to secure it to the wall. So now it is sturdy and it's ready to be shiplapped. Before I can start putting these shelves up against this, if you remember, we're wrapping this in shiplap. So I need to come down here and start measuring my shiplap to go up at least until here. You can keep going if you want, but I'm just gonna come up to about here so I can start layering my shelves and get that last shelf mounted against the wall. So we're almost done with the shiplap on this side before we can start putting in these beams and then attaching these smaller shelves to the wall. But when you put on these boards, you'll have to have the butt end just flat against the wall. And then these are just cut on 45-degree angles so they can kind of wrap around with what's on front and on the side. And then up here, if you remember, there wasn't anything going up to the ceiling. The shelves ended right here. So I just went through and just bought some scrap wood. I didn't buy it. I just had some scrap wood in the garage, so I'll just start over. You'll notice up here that I've added some scrap wood that makes this shelf tall enough to hit the ceiling. I needed that up there so when I wrap around my shiplap over here, I have some wood for it to attach to. Our next step, we are gonna start wrapping the shiplap around our entire shelving. But before I can come around to the inside, I actually have to get this backer. Because if you see, we don't have a lot of room back here. So if you wrap it around right here, you're gonna lose space for you to actually attach your backboards to. So we'll put the entire backing in and then we can wrap the rest of this shelf.
We used our stud finder earlier to find where our stud was on the other side of this wall. It's an old house, so it was just a little 1-inch board. So I put extra screws on the side because essentially this board is gonna be holding our TV once we're done.
So now our next step is attaching these 2x4s to the wall for behind these smaller shelves. So if you remember with these tall ones, we did 2 2x4s on top of each other to give us some more thickness in the wall. With these, we're just gonna do the 1 2x4 just to give it enough room to come off the wall. So when we're hanging down our cords for our TVs and stuff, it's got room between the shelves and the wall for those cords to drop. But it's still gonna be sunken in behind this one because again, we gave this one a lot more thickness to it. With these shelves, we are going to pretend that they're a lot thicker than they really are. So if you see this front facing, it makes it look like a chunkier piece of board, but it's not. It's just these thin pieces. It's like 1-inch boards. For the back, it's just these 2 little pieces of wood that keep it from collapsing on itself. You're gonna put this front facing on, nail it into these pieces of wood, and then you're gonna put your 2 pieces back here. I nailed from the bottom, which I should have covered these holes, but I did not, so don't judge. But I nailed from the bottom to hold it all together with a lot of wood glue, and then here's your shelf.
Action.
With the IKEA shelves, you've got all your little holes right here for the brackets. So I put them in and I put them on their side. So they're supposed to be up like this to kind of hold the IKEA shelf. But I twisted them all on their side so it's more of a flat surface. And then because you have these gaps, you're just gonna slide it right onto those brackets. And there it is. All right guys, that is a wrap. Here is our finished product as well as my very first video. This is my first tutorial I've done and it was
awful.
All of the things. It was frustrating, it was funny, it was intimidating, it was all of the things. I'm happy it's done. If you guys decide to tackle a project like this, go ahead and tag me. I want to see what you guys are creating, I want to see the spaces that you're putting in, and I want to show it some love. Until next time. Thank you, bye. I don't know what to say. Can you just cut off at until next? It was awful. I hated every second.
How many times did it take you to do the intro and the exit?
Well, the intro, I cried because I got very frustrated with it. And the exit, it probably took maybe 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, this is like take 15.
And that's a wrap.